Towel Tuesday, and let's wait a second to make sure it's streaming. It looks like it is, but we're gonna wait just a couple seconds, man. The software always shows it funny, but I see you guys already in the chat, so I believe I'm live. But we're gonna wait. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, here we go. So what's up, guys? Welcome, man, to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and thanks to you guys who are already here watching, man. I saw it was 30 plus people were waiting. Wow, you guys are really surprising me each and every week. Sorry for my tardiness, man. Sorry for my tardiness. I try to be on time, but the last 2 weeks I've been a little bit late. The reason why is I'm fighting with Blog Talk Radio, man. Blog Talk Radio, for whatever reason, they do not have a phone number. At least there's not a number that I have ever found that you can call. That's number one. So you have to deal with them via email, right? So I tried the link again, not the link, excuse me. I tried the queue again tonight, and apparently it seems like it's not working. If any of you guys want to try it while we're on the call, the number's right there on the screen, 619-924-0108. Apparently right now it's not even allowing you to dial in. You know, Kenyon tried to use it last week. Right now it's not even allowing you to dial in. It says it cannot be completed as dial. Now the number is linked to your account. So what has happened? I don't know. I did, however, find out that you can video call them, so I may attempt to do that after the show, because I'm tired of it, guys. I'm tired of us having to suffer. And for you guys who are new, I just saw somebody subscribe. Thank you for that. If you guys are new, what I like to do is I have a phone queue available for you guys to call in. All right, so let me say this as well before I dive into the show. If any of you guys are familiar with any other service like Blog Talk, let me explain to you how Blog Talk works, because I know a lot of people like to give me the idea of Google Hangouts, Zoom, things of that nature. That's not what I want. What I would like to have, I need a service like Blog Talk Radio that allows me to receive calls via phone or computer, but it's an actual dial-in number that I can put you in queue and bring you on, mute you, things of that nature. Okay, I don't want a Google Hangout situation or a Zoom situation where you have to have some type of account. I don't want that. You know, statistics show, and not even using statistics, but just me and my own personal streaming that I've done in the past, it's more beneficial for everyone when you don't have an account that you have to have. You know, you could be riding along in your car listening and you just want to call in really quick. You don't have time to sign into anything. So that's what I'm looking for, guys. If any of you know any other service other than Blog Talk Radio that provides that, I'm paying for Blog Talk Radio. I will be happy to pay another program if it's more successful. Now, I do see a phone call here in the queue, so maybe it's deciding to work tonight. Okay, and Jason Winningham says the queue is working. Okay, great. Great. So problem may be solved for tonight. So I definitely expect to take some phone calls. Jason, you'll be the first one. So let me just tell you guys what we're going to talk about tonight, man. I didn't even do my introductions as far as saying hello to some of you guys. So let me do that really quick. All the way back to the first one. Big Dro, Steve Williams, Grinding Yardage. I haven't seen that name before, so I think you might be a new listener. If you are, I appreciate that. Michael Garman, Clifton Millender, my boy Captain Spartan, what's going on? Carlos Castellan, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Please forgive me if I'm not. Jared Devil, Brett Fine, Christopher Osu, or OSU, Mike Cox, Tyrone, I can't even read. Tyrone Johnson says he's repping Norfolk. That's what's up, because you guys know I'm originally from Virginia. I'm from Richmond, but I represent the whole state of VA, man. You know, I've been in Pennsylvania for quite a long time, guys, so this is home now, but born and raised in Virginia. It's funny, Tyrone, I was just talking about Norfolk not too long ago. I was talking about music. You know, producer Bink, I'm sure you've heard of him. One of my favorites. Just found out that he's produced quite a few songs that I had no idea. So you guys were into music. It's some of those songs I could tell you that he produced would blow your mind. You probably didn't know it. But anyway, getting off track. Musab Adin, Kevin Figueroa, Mr. ABS, Jordan Mid, Sixburg 6, Jay Vega, my good brother Kenyon. And we'll stop it right there, man. I don't want to continue to read names and such and get out of, you know, a lot of you guys are already here, so I don't want to waste your time there. let me tell you guys what we are planning to talk about tonight. And then I would definitely go to the calls. I might even go to the calls first. I might go to you guys first, actually, because I want to get as many calls as I can tonight. But what I kind of want to talk about, man, you see it in the title. You know, how would you feel if the Steelers drafted a safety with their first pick at pick 49? I definitely will explain to you why I'm kind of mentioning this. You know, stay tuned for that. But then also, man, let's talk about Kevin Colbert, man, the report of having 3 extra rounds. You know, supposedly there's a report out there that he put in a proposal, right? He hasn't confirmed or denied it, but he put in a proposal to have 3 extra rounds in the 2020 draft since, you know, of course, due to the pandemic, nobody is able to do their normal pre-draft visits and, you know, they could do the combine, obviously, but pro days after that and meetings. So, kind of want to see what you guys feel about that, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. And then the last thing, man, we'll talk about is the Steelers will not be featured on Hard Knocks. I know a lot of people were speculating that it might happen. It has been confirmed. I believe it's going to be the Rams and the Chargers, I think it was. I think those were the 2 teams I saw. So no Steelers on Hard Knocks. So I'll definitely explain, you know, give you my thoughts about that, whether I'm for it or against it or what have you. But before the queue starts acting funny, let's get to the calls first. Try something a little different tonight. So let me get the headphones. We're going to hit area code 803, which I believe is our guy, Jason. And then we'll go to area 651. Glad the queue is working. So let's get 803 on right now. Area code 803, man. How you doing?
Good evening. Good evening. Good to hear you talk about Virginia like that. I'm a Norfolk State grad. I'm from Orangeburg, South Carolina. So
oh, that's what's up.
South Carolina. But hey, the go-go music and everything.
Oh, that's DC though. That ain't VA. That's DC.
DC. Well, you had the house music and the club music.
There you go.
But you were talking about the draft, and I'm usually piggybacking off of you, so I'm not used to catching it so early tonight. But something tells me we're really going to draft an offensive lineman for some reason, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I would love to get either the running back from Wisconsin or the safety from Minnesota, but I'm thinking we're going to get an offensive line that youthing up that group a little bit, even though we need depth at the safety and linebacker position. Just want to go off of what you were thinking about that. Thank you so much.
Man, thank you as well. And you guys see I'm adjusting my camera on the fly. Y'all got to forgive me, but it's a little crazy here. But, yeah, you know, I'm going to tell you, man, only reason why I'm not talking about offensive line is because I'm not even going to say I don't want O-line. I don't have a problem with the O-line. But I'm still going to ride that whole notion of Steelers go best available in this draft, sitting at 49. And I think the best available might be a skill position. But I'm going to agree with Jason, man. If we go offensive line, you can't be mad at that either, man. Let's be realistic. I know as fans, a lot of times, you know, we get in our emotions, right? And we want the best players all the time. But if you really look at it and you dissect the team, our offensive line didn't look as great last year. And some could say, and believe it or not, but some could say that's because Roethlisberger wasn't there and things were a little different. Yeah, that could be part of it. Some could say Munchak left. I'm sure that was a part of it. I don't think that impact was as big. And maybe that's just me being naive, but I feel like these guys are professionals, and Sean Surratt was the understudy. He's been there the whole time with Munchak. I wouldn't have thought that it would have fell off that bad, but you have to acknowledge it. But then you also got to take a look at the talent. You know, DeCastro is still a monster, right? Villanueva, let's be honest. He's had good and bad years. Can we all agree to that? He's had good years and bad years and so-so years. He's never really been an outstanding left tackle. You know, he was made into a left tackle, right? So there you have it. Maybe his consistency isn't as up to par as it needs to be. And I'm not saying he had a horrible year. I'm just saying. But then we had the big Ragu, Ramon Foster. He's older, as you guys can see, has retired. We all started to see he was lumbering a little more, right? Always been like a big lumbering type of guy, you know, just a big body. but you can clearly see his age. And of course, I always like to say this about football. Guys are not old for the earth. It's just old in football. Once you crack 30, you fighting to still be, to still be at the top of your game at any position. Some of the elite athletes are able to do it. Guys like Jerry Rice, just seeing how he was able to produce well into his, 30s and even 40s, and way back in the day, the Darryl Green type of guys, still playing cornerback at an old age. Even Dion was still out there playing at an older age, but he wasn't the same. You're going to regress. Quarterback is a little different, because obviously you're standing back there, you got protection around you, but it's just the nature of the beast, right? So anyway, Ragu, lumbering, and then you're looking at the right tackle situation. Let's be honest, right tackle has been a little shaky anyway the last couple of years, even when Marcus Gilbert was still there. Gilbert didn't stay healthy, so we were shuffling. We got Chooks. We'll see what he's going to be, right? Matt Fowler, not necessarily. I'm not picking on him, man, because, technically, if you want to say that was kind of a rookie-ish season for him as far as being a starter, not in the league, but you know what I'm saying. I still have to judge his, I have to judge him. He wasn't the best right tackle. Clearly was not. But I wouldn't be mad, and you get the kid, the guy, I'm about to call him a kid, but he's already a veteran, Winooski. I believe I'm saying that correctly. I think he'll probably be decent for us. He probably has an opportunity to start, if we're being honest. But who's behind that? So if we did go offensive line, I wouldn't be mad, but I'm hoping we address the offensive line later. I hope we are comfortable enough with what we have to feel like we don't have to get that guy at 49. Excuse me, guys, but nose itching and stuff. I hate to do this in front of you guys, but listen, I keep it real, man. I guess that's a VA trait as well. I hope we ain't got to get that dude at 49. So I'm hoping 49 is best available. It might be a safety. And 803 already alluded to that guy out in Minnesota. That's exactly who I'm going to talk about. So I'll get to it in a minute. But anyway, let's grab the next few calls. Man, area code 651. Apologize for my rambling. What you got for us tonight, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on with you, Sam, man?
Nothing much, man.
I got a few points. Oh, okay. I got a few points, man, that since you didn't take calls last week because Dog Talk was hating. I got a couple of them. I just want to see what your thoughts on. One thing I thought about with that 49th pick could be an inside linebacker, depending on who's there. Because to me, that's the one position they hadn't addressed, or they don't. It seems like they don't want Vince to start beside our guy. So I don't know who's left. Gilbert, we're unsure about yet. We don't know who he is. So I think if a guy with a good pedigree is there, they'll probably go that route. Just one little thing they can seal up. Maybe, maybe not. Other thing was a lot of people are hating on Edmonds, and we were talking, and I remember talking about that with you on the show. And I feel like you said, he has the talent to be one of the best safeties. Just off raw talent. It's just the above the neck game he got to pick up, and I think Mick is going to be good for him with that. And you look at Sean Davis, I think we ruined him the same way we almost did William Gay. And people forget about that. Everybody was happy about William Gay at the end of his career, but early on, they dogged him pretty good. And I think it's partially coaching because we moved him around too much. William Gay was in the slot as a rookie, did pretty good. Next year he's on the outside, lost. Then you bring him back to the slot. Same thing with Sean Davis. Started as a slot corner. All right, we're going to move him strong safety. Let's move with the free safety. How do you expect him to get comfortable? And we almost ruined William Gay the same way.
Good point.
That's one point on that. And we talked about the running backs, McFarland and Akers. I want Akers, but the only reason I brought up McFarland is because he's projected to be a later round pick. So I don't know, 4th rounder. And I think, and people forget, the first year Fitz took over as a coordinator, we ran some RPOs, which we never really done it, I remember. And that guy coming out of that is going to be, he's a firecracker, man. That's that one. And then, the other thing was, as far as the XFL pickups, I think that was smart because now those later round draft picks that we don't have a chance to actually meet and go scout, we got some guys that we've actually seen play against NFL talent. And it also may open us up to make some trades later, to move up in the middle rounds because, hey, give up this 5th or 6th round pick to move up a few picks in the 3rd or 2nd, where we got guys that we actually already seen against NFL talent compared to guessing on guys we'll never get a chance to meet. So, but that's pretty much it. Sorry I was long, but just wanted to get it all in.
Nah, man, you good, man. I appreciate the call. Some great points, and I'll hit them as fast as I can. Then we'll go to 609. Just glancing over at the chat. I don't know. A lot of times I see part of the conversation, so I don't know if the comment is for me or for someone else. But I just want to say this real quick. Freeman Marcus says, so we need a safety more than a running back now. More than a running back. Come on now. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm definitely going to explain what I'm saying about the safety, and it's not even need-based. Don't. And again, I don't know if you're talking to me directly, but don't get caught up in the title, man. It's YouTube. It's YouTube, guys. I got to get you interested in viewing. Not saying that we need that, but I'm going to explain to you why it could be a possibility, right? But let's go to my man's points. Inside linebacker could be interesting. I'm going to actually defer to Kenyon. Maybe he wants to say it in the chat. I know Kenyon was checking out some backers today. Speaking of which, Kenyon and I both, we are Aries. Our birthdays are both next week. So we plan to do another steel table. See our brother Tony's in here tonight. So Tony, of course, if you can make it, you already know. But we'll probably do another steel table next week, man, to kind of, ha and laugh it up about our birthdays to celebrate that. But we could talk about some more prospects next week. So we'll definitely make that happen. But yeah, Kenyon was looking at some inside backers. I probably have to look around as well to see who else is there. Haven't really looked at that position. I only know some of the, the guys that you expect that are going to be gone. So, again, like I said, maybe Kenyon can give us some guys to look at. Might be, again, man, best available. Best available. The Edmonds thing, yes. His biggest issue to me is above the neck. And not saying that he can't get it, but I don't think he's as bad as other people say either. And again, that's another reason I'm going to allude to him too when I talk about the safety situation. But I agree with you, man. I'm not ready to throw Edmonds in the trash. He's going into that 3rd year, which is very important. It's still a nation. We know that. The coaching staff and the organization for years always talk about that 3rd year. We'll see what he is. And the moving around, man, of William Gay, it's funny you say that because the shout out to my father-in-law, Leonard. He's probably watching. He was watching the Super Bowl yesterday or the day before when we played Green Bay. And he was saying, man, Ryan Clark was getting torched. And I said, yeah, but William Gay was getting torched too. Y'all remember that? And I remember going into that Super Bowl how concerned I was at them targeting William Gay. And they did it a couple times. In one play, William Gay had pretty tight coverage. And it was just the most perfect pass that Aaron Rodgers could have ever throw. Pinpoint accurate. But that one hurt, man. I thought we had a chance to get that one, and we didn't. But, yeah, you're right about Sean Davis. I wish they would have recognized Sean Davis as being more of a free safety first and foremost, because I feel like he played his best ball with us at free safety. But just my opinion. But let's grab the next call, guys, and then I'll get into the topics. Area code 609. What you got for us tonight?
What's going on, SimFBallCritic?
Nothing much. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Staying quarantine and stuff. But
yeah,
going along with the Terrell thing, you know what I'm saying? One thing really people don't really talk about is he's really durable. You know what I'm saying? He really hasn't really missed like a lot of games and stuff like that. He plays every game. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like the 3rd year is the lucky charm and stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's got to see and stuff, and he's a great tackler. And for the 49th pick and stuff like that, I think we're gonna go probably, I'm gonna say a versatile safety. Well, what I mean by a versatile safety is like a safety or that can play linebacker or something like that, like a jack of all trades or something. Because we just live in like the modern NFL. You just got like safeties playing linebackers and linebackers playing safety and stuff like that. You need versatility and stuff. So I don't like the word safety anymore. But like if a linebacker can play safety or like a safety converted to a linebacker, I'll take any day. And one rookie you could take a look at, or draftee you could take a look at, is Terry Muse from Clemson. When I look at the film from him, he reminds me of Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And he plays every position, like a linebacker and a safety. So I think you should take a good look at him. And I just hope the Pittsburgh Steelers draft him. Have a good day, man.
You do the same, man. It's funny. You must be reading my mind, man. And if you think I'm lying, Kenya can confirm. I watched Tanner Muse today. I watched him today. I only watched one game because I didn't have a lot of time. I watched one game of all his snaps, and I also watched his highlights. But I'm gonna go back and watch 2 more games of snaps. I'm going to talk about him as I talk about the safeties. So definitely stay tuned. That's funny that you say that because I was already planning on talking about him, and I'm going to talk about Winfield. And you guys will see how I feel about both of those guys. So let's kill the other stuff really quick first, man, and then I'll get into the title of the video. As far as the Steelers not being on Hard Knocks, great. Is it entertainment? Sure. Would it allow us to peek a little bit behind the curtain like we never have? Perhaps. But I don't care about that. It would be cool to see our squad on there, especially imagine your team being on Hard Knocks and they win the Super Bowl or something, and you watch their whole journey. That would be cool. Or like I said, we'll get more of an up close and personal with some of the guys who are fighting for a spot, along with guys like, over at Steeler Depot reporting, Alex Kozora always at training camp. So that would be kind of cool, but no big deal. I'm not tripping. It would have been possibly cool, but who cares? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So I almost prefer that they're not on there. As far as Kevin Colbert, man, there is a proposal, supposedly. Colbert hasn't confirmed or denied it, but supposedly Kevin Colbert offered a proposal, to the NFL saying, listen, since our normal routine has been affected due to the pandemic, what about allowing 3 extra picks or 3 extra rounds for teams in the 2020 draft? Be honest with you, I'm all right with that. And you know why? For the obvious reasons. Yes, maybe some of those things were missed. We know the Steelers, they're very big in pro days and pre-draft visits, and I'm sure other teams are too, but we know that's a part of the process with the Steelers. And why not allow, who cares how long the draft is? Why not allow 3 extra rounds perhaps, or maybe it's 2, whatever. It's the same difference as you signing undrafted free agents, the UDFAs. It's the same thing. Basically, it's not like you're adding more people. It would be like now some of these UDFAs would actually be drafted. So I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think that'd be kind of cool. And who knows if it happens? I doubt it. But you never know. This time that we're living in, it's a lot of things happening that I never would have expected. I never expected seeing a pandemic like this where, not so much what it's doing, because again, and I hate to, throw this sidebar out there. I'll get back to football in a second. With anything, guys, you're going to have fatalities, unfortunately, whether that's war or flu or whatever. And I think the reason why it's in so many people's mind right now is because it's being heavily reported. It's the COVID-19 is being reported so much. That's why we're hearing so much about the fatalities. But again, still keep in mind the mortality rate is not extremely high. It's unfortunate. You hate for anybody to have to go, of course. And it's even gotten to the point now where I know people that it's happened to. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, it's just because the amount of people that are being infected is so high, it's always in your face every day. So they kind of skew the numbers as far as how lethal this pandemic is, if you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to diminish how crucial it is. This is a serious thing. But just pay attention to the lethalness of it. That isn't extremely crazy yet, so that is a good thing for all of us. But also, when I say I've never seen anything like this, I've never been a part of anything that shut the country down. Like literally. Well, we all in the crib. I ain't never seen nothing like that in my lifetime. In the time that I've been living, I've never seen anything like this as far as what it's doing to the people as far as how we're behaving. That's crazy. I was telling my wife last night, the only thing I remember close to this, and this ain't even affect the whole country, but y'all remember the 96 blizzard? That's the only other time I remember parts of the country like being completely shut down. Like the whole East Coast was on lockdown. I remember that. But other than that, I've never seen nothing quite like this. So I say all that to say this, guys. Is it unprecedented? Sure. But due to the situation, why not? That would be cool. Why not? Allow teams, more rounds, and why not? What's it going to hurt? Like I said, all you're doing is cutting into the amount of UDFAs, which is guys that either would have gotten signed anyway, or now they have a chance to be drafted. So I'm cool with that. All right, so let's get to the safety news, because I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering, what is he talking about? Safety. I know you ask yourself that question when you see the title there. Here's the thing. I'm going to keep pounding this table. I'm going to keep saying this, man. Kenyon said it last week, too. Excuse me, guys. I'm looking at the computer for a second. Looks like I may be a tad bit out of focus. So let's get that back together. Myself and Kenyon keep religiously saying that the Steelers are probably going to go best available. So I told you guys last week, instead of me just looking at all of these different prospects, I started looking at people that I think might make sense and positions. I think Kenyon kind of talked me off the ledge with the running back thing. I probably got a little ahead of myself with that last week, thinking it could happen. Not saying that it can't, but if you look at it realistically, and again, thank you to the brother Kenyon for reminding me. I listened to this the Terrible podcast with Alex and Dave, and they reminded me as well. This would be like the third or fourth consecutive year the Steelers draft a running back relatively high. To spend the 49th pick on a back, it probably don't make sense. Now, I mean, would it piss me off? No, because that would mean that there's reason to do it. That means that they're not confident in something. That would mean maybe they don't think there's a future for a James Conner. If we went running back that high, if we went Akers or somebody like that, or J.K. Dobbins, and I saw Steelers Depot has a comparison of those two guys. I'm going to check that out. I haven't had a chance yet. But I'm just saying, it probably won't happen now. Because, again, Kenyon makes a very logical point. There's other beat writers making logical points around that, so that probably won't be it. So anyway, I'll say, okay, so who could it be? It's very possible, guys, that it could be defense. And I think if it is defense, it could be safety or corner, depending on who's there. I think we touched on this last week, but you got to remember, man, Joe Hayden is not a spring chicken. He already has his second go-round with the Steelers in terms of contracts. Already re-upped him and extended him, and I think they just restructured him. Joe Hayden's not going to be around much longer. 2 years maybe. Who knows? Maybe he's one of those dudes who lasts forever and, he's just a solid veteran. But you have to be thinking the Steelers are probably going to want to shore up that position. But like Kenyon said as well, you would think the Steelers would be looking at a Justin Lane, and hopefully he comes along and he could be that guy. But what if they don't think that? Possibly could be a corner. But safety seems very likely to me because of, again, who they're expecting to be there at that point. So they're expecting Antoine Winfield. The projections say that he's going to be available around the time when the Steelers pick. Now, we know projections don't mean anything. Again, y'all know my story. For you guys who are new to this show, I tell this story all the time. I was so big on Patrick Mahomes coming out of college. And when I saw that a lot of people were projecting him to be a second, third rounder, my eyes lit up. I was like, man, Steelers need to go after a quarterback. Landry Jones is not the answer. We need a backup plan. And I scouted Patrick Mahomes at, Texas Tech, I believe. Man, Kenyon will tell you, Tony will tell you, I was coming back to those guys like, yo, this kid's arm talent is incredible, right? I didn't even know who he was. And sorry, guys, I keep wiping my mouth off, man. We just had Taco Tuesday, and I feel the remnants of it still around. So That's the reason why I keep doing it, if y'all are wondering. But yeah, so when he was projected to be second or third round, I started looking and was doing one of these numbers, especially after I found out that the Steelers brought him in for a pre-draft visit. Now, am I going to sit here and say that I knew he would be what he is now? No, I didn't see that. But I saw incredible arm talent, especially on the deep ball. I was like, wow. And guess who else saw that? Andy Reid. And jumped ship. Went up there and got him super early. So just because a guy's projected doesn't mean anything, but that's really the only thing we can make our guesstimations on is projections. So anyway, Winfield is projected to be available in the second round, around the 49th pick or so. And again, if I ask myself best available, that also fits a need. Man, I checked out Winfield. I watched 2 of his games today. And guys, I don't watch, just so to be clear, I don't watch the full game, meaning both offense and defense. I always try to find those, and I appreciate those people out there that do this, that give you the mock-up where they just show all defensive snaps for a person or all offensive snaps. Easy, quick way to burn through a full game. So I watched the game against Penn State and the game against Nebraska last year, both of those. I'm here to tell you, very talented. He reminds me of, and not say they're the same player, nothing like that, because this guy's a corner. But remember what I was saying about Darnay, the kid in UCLA, how he's scrappy and he sticks his nose in it? That's Winfield to me too. He's a willing tackler, very smart. You know, from what I see, the way he diagnoses plays, I can't remember which team this was against because I watched 2 of his full games and I watched a highlight reel of his. I'm going to go back and watch a third game. I have to see at least 3 or 4 games. But in the highlight reel, it was a play he made near the goal line where it was a play action and a bootleg where he bit on the play action and immediately was able to see what was happening behind him and made the play and picked it off in the end zone. If I find it, I'll come back to you guys next week and tell you what, who it was against. Incredible. But I saw a lot of those plays from him. Smart, looking for the ball, getting in position, closing speed. Very rarely was he out of position when balls came his way. And again, like I said, willing tackler. A lot of times he's tackling tight ends. Saw him play some man coverage against tight ends. Defending a fade. Nice. He is nice. But here's another reason why I think you got to take a look at this guy. What do we know? What do they say about Mike Tomlin? He likes pedigree. Right? Who was his father? Somebody that Mike Tomlin knows, definitely. He loves pedigree. That's going to be a plus. Seems to be a good kid. Doesn't seem to have any personal issues. And like I said, man, his play, he's a ball hawk. He's a playmaker. That's something that a lot of us have said about Edmonds. We say he's not a playmaker. He's just, a decent safety. He's not a playmaker. So here's the scenario that I'm seeing. I'm not saying he's taking Terrell Edmonds' job. It's not what I'm saying. But remember, guys, when we drafted Edmonds, right, and we signed Burnett, what was the intention? Right? We were looking for a dime backer. We were looking to have 3 safeties on the field. What did we see a lot last year with Cam Kelly? 3 safeties on the field. I'm here to tell you, man, that we don't have a backup safety right now that we think is going to play in a dime situation or in sub package when we want to run 3 safeties. Dangerfield ain't it. Marcus Allen, maybe. Marcus Allen has an opportunity to show itself. I think a safety also was one of those guys, one of the XFL guys I think is a safety. So he'll get a look because, again, Cam Kelly got a look from that other league. What was it, AAF? So I'm just saying, if I want to believe best available, and if Winfield is sitting there at 49, I think it might happen, bro. And he's a baller. A baller. Love the way, I'm telling you, I love his game. I want to analyze him a little more because, you got to see flaws from everybody so you're not biased. But he's nice. Okay? He's nice. Now let's talk about Tanner Muse. Because I noticed 651, I think it was, or it might have been 609. I can't remember which one of you guys mentioned him. But one of the callers mentioned Tanner Muse. I had an opportunity today to watch one of his full games. And I did watch his highlights. Here's how I look at him. Now, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. I said this to Kenyon earlier. And actually, I can even read to you what I said to Kenyon, man. Just, so you guys know that I do this stuff even off hours, man. Let me see. So what I told Kenyon, I said, to me, Tanner Muse, to me, he's a play your assignment type of guy. And I said, meaning he seems to be disciplined within his assignments, but I don't see him as a pure talented guy. I don't see him as a talent guy. And I said Belichick would get the best out of him. And I use that as an example. You know how they always say Belichick and plug-in guys, and he seems like one of those dudes. If you plug him into the right spot, I mean, he's going to give you maximum effort. He's going to make a few plays. But he doesn't strike me as a pure talent guy. Like, clearly, the talent gap to me is kind of a wide margin. Not overly, but you clearly can, to me, I could be wrong. To me, Winfield is clearly a better safety, talent-wise, with everything that I saw, with his attributes and, his awareness and all ball skills, all of that. But Muse, again, and I said, I see us picking him up in the 4th round or so, if he's available, if we're looking to add a safety later in the draft. And then I said, it's Winfield Jr. if the Steelers are looking to add a safety early in the draft. And that's kind of how I see those two guys. I don't want to compare them because it's not an apples-to-apples situation. And that's what I'm not trying to do here. I'm not trying to say, oh, he's much better than Muse. No. I'm just saying, if I was evaluating the talent, Muse, I think, will be there. 4th round, perhaps. He might go earlier, but, one of those guys. He is a utility guy, like the caller said. His frame and his body, you could definitely play him in the box. And if we want to talk about that, then he clearly fits that mold. If we want to, use my own example and say, well, we want to have 3 safeties on the field, one of these guys being a dime backer, Muse is your guy. Clearly. But that same scenario to me would work with Winfield, because my envisionment would be, imagine us playing 3 safeties in the dime and sub package, and you have Minka and Winfield Jr. playing the deep, and then you have Edmonds playing around the box. Sign me up for that, bro. I'll take it. Because again, Minka Fitzpatrick, we all know, is ball hawk goes without saying. Playmaker goes without saying. Ball skills goes without saying. I'm fortunate enough to have seen it with my own eyes against the Colts while at Heinz Field. Me and Floyd, if Cousin Floyd is in here. To witness that in person and see him house that thing that far, when you sitting on edge, I know y'all was on edge watching it on TV, but when you on edge, looking at the end zone, thinking they're going to score, and Minka flashes across the middle, picks that thing off, and 97 yards or 96 yards later, dancing in the end zone, boy. So it got me to thinking, like, man, when is the time that we have ever had 2 safeties that were dangerous in terms of ball skills? Because I know Leonard asked me that question too, man, when he was telling me he was watching the Super Bowl. He said, I thought Ryan Clark was a cover guy. I said, oh, no. Ryan Clark has never been mistaken as a cover man. Ryan Clark was decent with sometimes maintaining the middle of the field, being a center fielder, but he was a hitter. Excuse me. He was a thumper, right? Ryan Clark was an enforcer, and Ryan Clark was good against the run. But you ain't never going to confuse him as a cover guy. So even with the glory days when we had Troy back there, it's been, I don't recall ever seeing a time when we had two safeties that were legit ball skills guys. That's what you could get with a Winfield type of guy and Minka. And then you have Edmonds. Because, again, I think Edmonds all right, man. But I'd rather Edmonds play in the box. Or, or play kind of, that intermediate area. So I'm just saying, man, that's how I feel. I didn't mean to take so long on that, but I feel like if it happens, I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at them grabbing somebody like Winfield Jr. if he's available. So I would have no problem with that to answer my own question in the title, what if we took a safety? I love that scenario. I love that scenario because I think still later in the draft, there's still going to be running backs if we want one. There's still going to be receivers if we want one. So we don't have to jump out the window and get that guy at 49, just depending on who's there. And speaking of which, also looked at T. Higgins because I know a lot of people were talking about T. Higgins. So I studied him a bit this week. To me, if I had to be fair about it, man, if I had to give a comparison, and I told this to Kenya, man, and Tony over the weekend, T. Higgins to me is the way I see him fitting in the Steelers is he would be a better Martavis Bryant, with, better hands. Now, Martavis was a blazer. Higgins isn't that fast, but that's kind of how he plays. For the games I watch, and still, I owe him another game to watch, a third game. But from what I've watched, don't see a lot of routes. They might run a couple tunnel screens to him here and there, maybe get him on a slant here and there, but he doesn't appear, to be the route guy. And I don't know if that's his fault or just by design. But it seemed like almost every time, man, at least 80% of the time when the ball went his way, it was down the seams or outside the numbers. Just gets behind the defense, let it fly, and he attacks the ball. That's what I like about him. He attacks the ball at the high point. 6'4". Yes, I would love that. We need another big receiver, man. I just feel like we need that. We got enough dudes that are, kind of that in-between size. And you got Juju that's, 6'1", 6'2", that's fairly big. And Juju putting on a lot of muscle right now. Y'all see him, right? But we ain't had one of them dudes in a while, man. And clearly, Roethlisberger, we all know that. Roethlisberger loves that. We seen it early in his career with Plexico, right? We seen what he was able to eventually do with Martavis Bryant when they were able to connect. We saw what they were eventually tried to do with Sammy Coates early in that season when he started looking decent in the first few games and then fell off, after his fingers got broke or what have you. So give one of those dudes to Ben. Big body like that just wants to fly, and allow Ben to just throw it up and wing it, and he's going to go get it at the high point. But that's what I see out of T. Higgins, man. So that's just my assessment. I'm not bashing him or anything. I don't see, nothing extremely special in terms of he's not a number one, if that makes sense, but definitely I think he's going to definitely serve, be a good service to somebody. I'd take him. But that's kind of what he reminds me of in terms of receiver. He's not, really the guy that I'm worrying about, completely destroying routes and things like that. Everything seems to just be fly patterns. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But that's all I got, man. I don't think I got anything else. I want to get into the chat, man, and see what you guys have to say. I know there's probably been a lot of discussion that I've missed. So if anything that you guys want me to see that you may have spoke on earlier, any thoughts that you have on Winfield or Muse or the proposal for the additional draft picks, whatever I covered, fire away, man, and I'll get right to it. Sippy Boy 302 says, the only thing I hated about Juju is I felt he tried too hard to not be Brown. Okay. It's okay to command the ball when your team needs it. I don't think he was aggressive enough. That's a fair assessment. It's a fair assessment. Juju does give you that old teammate type of feel, and that's not a bad thing, but in reference to how you're saying it, I feel you. He does kind of come off like that a bit. Kieran Broomsey says Pittman comparable to Higgins, different quarterback throwing. You know what? That's interesting. In terms of on the field, and I will be honest in saying I haven't watched Pittman a ton. Kenyon could probably take that more than I could. But Pittman, to me, shows me a little more as far as variety. You know, I've seen him in the blocking game and I've seen him in the special teams game. So, as far as offensively, I guess you could compare those guys as far as, you know, what they are on offensive snaps. Like I said, I haven't watched him a ton to really draw a real comparison other than their size and things like that. But Pittman definitely is more of a utility receiver, if that makes sense. You know, it seems like he has a little more with his package. Pause. That's a pause statement. But it seems like he has a little more to offer in that regard. Why Diggy says T. Higgins is similar to most of those Clemson receivers that that came out except for DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, I mean Sammy Coates. You know what I mean? You're right. Who's the other dude from Clemson, man? Oh my God, why can't I remember? The other dude that was on that squad. I've talked about him earlier. Now, why I'm losing I can't recall his name now. Well, that is so crazy. I even talked about it just a little while ago. Kenyon says Pittman likes blocking. He's tougher. He plays. Yeah, yep, exactly what I said. C. Antoine Hill says, what about Dane Jackson out of Pitt? We could go QB late. Don't know much about him. Let me write his name down. I will check him out. Dane Jackson out of Pitt. QB. Not QBs. Excuse me, CB. Cornerback. All right, I will check that out, man, and hopefully I'll have something for you next week. Chase Claypool at 49. I'm calling it. Could be. And I always like to be honest with you guys there. I haven't watched Claypool, not a lot of his film either, so I don't really know what he has to offer. I just know he's big and fast, but I don't know his complete game. I know Kenyon said, you know, based on his attributes, he doesn't dominate. You know, his numbers aren't off the chart. The production isn't there. That would be concerning, but I haven't myself watched his film to that degree to really know. Relfax says, Sippy, I thought the OC failed to put Juju in situations to succeed. He was lining up as a traditional one, and he never moved him around often. He had a lot of success in the slot and put him, and fully agree with that. And, I mean, one could say it's because AB obviously was lined up at one and then, you know, whoever else was on the other side. But still, yes, you have to utilize these guys to their strengths, okay? You know, think about it. Even if, you know, you want Juju to be your quote-unquote number one, but you're just lining him up in the slot at all times, right? The thing about that is even if he's drawing the number one cover guy, that still opens it up better for you on the outside. You know what I mean? If you could take the number one cover guy and have him, he's having to defend the middle of the field and look for quick slants and things like that, it opens it up for the outside for a guy like James Washington that will go up and snatch the ball out the air. See what I'm saying? So I tend to agree with Rel Facts there, man. You got to utilize your personnel to the best of their ability. Aaron Fuller says, we don't necessarily need it, but would put us over the top if we got a blazer at wide receiver. Yeah, absolutely. I'm always, you know, open to speed at wide receiver, no question. Let's see who we got after that, man, because the chat is running pretty fast here. Still Maiden says, don't be surprised if we draft our hometown boy Lynn Bowden, receiver at Kentucky. Snell told him Tomlin said they looking at him hard and the end of the season. Check him out. Okay. Let me check him out, too. You said Lynn Bowden out of Kentucky. Let's see here. Wide out of Kentucky. All right. What else y'all got, man? Caesar Diaz says, what if Love falls to us late in the first, do you see us? Oh, you said, what if he falls to late in the first? Do you see us possibly trading up for him? I doubt it. Regardless of the player, I just don't. My gut feeling is telling me we don't have a lot to offer. We don't have a lot to play with, and I think the Steelers are going to be a little modest. You know, we're beginning the draft at the second round. I think they're going to be a little modest. Of course, if you can move up and get somebody of that caliber, yes, but are they going to value that position, number one, to move up? And then number two, what are you giving up? You almost certainly got to give up that second round pick. So then, yeah, I don't know. I don't think more so than any other year. Yeah, I don't see it. Oh, that's right. Sammy Coates went to Auburn. Oh, so I'm thinking about Martavis. That's who I'm thinking about. Yeah, y'all right. Yeah, I was thinking about Martavis Bryant. I got it mixed up. You're absolutely right. Coates was an Auburn product. He played with old boy that we drafted, the corner. Oh, speaking of that, I meant to say that in my explanation, so let me double back and say that. Don't be surprised, man. The reason why I say Winfield, to me, this kind of feels like a Sinquez Golson type of pick, right? And what I mean by that is Sinquez Golson wasn't the biggest. I wasn't really that familiar with him when we took him in the second round. But just look at what they were getting from him. Scrappy. He was like Mike Hilton, right? Before we knew Mike Hilton. And I believe them guys played together. He turned the ball over. He was a playmaker. He was a tackler. And what I mean by saying it reminds me of that is because I wasn't thinking of Sinquez Golson at that spot. And that's what I mean. It could be something like that. While we're sitting here thinking other positions, it could very well be like that where they're eyeing Winfield and they've identified this is where we're going, and if he's there, we're going to get him. It kind of feels like that to me. Like I said, it's not a comparison of players, but it feels like that. It very much so feels like to me like a Sinquez Golson type of pick where, you know, most people aren't really talking about it. But if he's sitting there at 49, Winfield could be the guy. So we'll see. Now, hopefully, if that is the case, I hope he doesn't have the trajectory that Sinquez Golson had, unfortunately, man. I feel bad for that guy. I feel really bad for him, man. Sammy Watkins and Deion Kane. Okay. Appreciate that, Jason, for filling me in with that info as well. Javinci Hendricks says, I really like the Chase Claypool, and I really feel like him, and he's great on special teams, and he's a pancake blocker. He pancakes cornerback, on a regular basis. He's great for the run game. I got to watch him. But, yeah, I mean, anytime somebody's big and strong and fast like that, you can find a place for him. I do think there's better talent elsewhere, though. You know, even that's without me even really, really watching him. Just kind of judging from what I hear from people that I particularly trust as far as their opinion. There's probably better talent at receiver, but if he falls to you, take a shot. Daryl Duke says, yes, everybody that coming out of a spread offense and are not used to blocking a lot, but will learn to do so in Pittsburgh. Yep, got to take all of that in consideration too, guys. Where these guys play in college and the style they play in, all that, especially offensive players, you have to consider that. It might not mesh up. And even you got to even consider that kind of stuff, man, when you wonder why your team doesn't go after a certain guy. They're looking at all of that. Defensively is a little different because you can kind of get away with it. Like a cornerback is a cornerback. Maybe, the type of defense that's ran and stuff is different, of course. Defensive linemen, sometimes it's tricky with them. And outside linebackers, are they a DN or are they an outside linebacker that can stand up? A little tricky. But generally, man, like a middle linebacker, strong safety, free safety, a corner, for the most part, you could probably develop those guys into whatever you want them to be. Even Winfield, I know he's a free safety. But like I said, safety in the NFL is kind of interchangeable. You know, you can play them both deep. Remember, Steelers run a lot of cover too. We run a lot of man as well now. So, you know, the safeties are going to be deep most of the time. And like I said, I just dreaming a scenario of having two playmakers in the back and having Edmonds lurk around the middle of the field, you know, lurk underneath, looking for any crosses and, you know, being there able to tackle in case a draw comes or a run is coming off of a shotgun. That's what I'm seeing if we were to go that route. If we go safety that early, I think we'll see that type of, you know, you're going to see him play. But again, if we decide we're just going to fill that hole later in the draft, and, you know, Tanner Muse is a guy there, yeah, I like his utility skill set, if you will, man. You could use him in a lot of situations. Let's see, what else y'all got, man? A few more, and then we'll get out of here. Steeler Card says Claypool would be a reach at 49. They are better receivers. Okay. And that's kind of what I was saying, but like I said, I'm going to be fair and say I haven't watched Claypool, but I kind of get that sentiment too, that there's other talent out there. Captain Spartan says those Alabama boys all got injury history already. Okay. What else? Kenya says all I care about, like Tomlin always talks about, is combat catches, and Pittman does that all day. Yes, he does. And speaking of Tomlin sayings, that's another thing with Winfield. Y'all know the Steelers like hearts and smarts. Winfield checks those boxes. Jacob Perkins says, all right, I'll say it. If the Steelers draft Bowden, he'd be the best wide receiver to ever play at Pittsburgh named Lynn. I don't know if you're serious or joking, but for those of you guys that don't know, he's referring to the name Lynn, i.e. Lynn Swan. So I don't know if he's joking and he really thinks that Bowden has that type of potential, or he's just, you know, being sarcastic and having some fun with us. Zuami M says we're gonna have to give up a lot to move to get Simmons. Oh man. So somebody said get Isaiah Simmons, or you saying that yourself? But yeah, man. That's out. That's out. Don't expect it. Don't expect it. That's out. But man, could you imagine with that type of potential having Simmons and Devin Bush out there, and having the back end that we currently have, how they've been playing, man. Let's see, a couple more, man, one or two more, and then we up out here. 90 seconds. As you hear Blog Talk, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and cut Blog Talk off right now, so y'all are gonna hear that. We don't need that. We're not taking any more calls tonight. I'm glad that it did work for us tonight. We appreciate that. Let's see. Javinci said, we are probably the best team at developing wide receivers, so with his athletic ability plus him having Big Ben as his quarterback, don't see him not being great. Who we talking about still? Let me go back up, Javinci. Let's see. Who we talking about? Who are we talking about? Post who you're talking about again, because I think I missed it. Spartan says, we be on Sports Illustrated with a wedding photo of Simmons and Tomlin. And they might as well throw me in there as the best man. I would love to have Simmons. That's Kenya's guy, too. I know we talked about it even before the trade happened. I think Kenya, before we got Minka, we was saying, like, we know it ain't going to happen. But Kenya was saying, even way back then, man, I would love to get Isaiah Simmons. Yeah, highlights don't tell a full story. I definitely agree with that, Zwami M. Oh, he's talking about Claypool. Okay, Javinci, Claypool. Got you. Yeah, and again, like I said, I'm not going to be unfair, and I'm not going to fake the funk, if you will, and act like I know about Claypool. I don't. I got to watch. The film. Like I said, there's certain people who've talked about him. One in particular, Kenyon, who I definitely trust Kenyon's opinion. And Kenyon brought up a good point. You know, where's the production? But some of you guys are saying, you know, it was the quarterback or the system. All of that, you know, we could all say that. But it's hard to make any definitive things or say anything definitive, man, when, you know, we haven't seen these guys in the NFL. You know, anything can happen. Last one here. Darren Dalton says, Sim, who do you think has the better season? James Washington or Eric Ebron? Let me sit on that for about 10 seconds here. Let me sip my tea. Ebron. But here's why. There's a lot of things I'm taking into consideration. Ben Roethlisberger comes back and he's healthy. He's going to find a way to get Juju the ball. He's going to help Juju get his confidence back. He's going to find a way to get the ball to Juju Smith-Schuster. We're going to put Juju in a position to win. Deontay Johnson. I think Ben Roethlisberger is going to love the type of player that Deontay Johnson could possibly develop into. So I think he's going to be looking for him across the middle and things like that. You know, the route running type of guy. That's Deontay Johnson. Get him the ball quick. Let him work in open field. James Washington could still be the deep threat, but it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be more of a setup type of thing. So I think the looks are going to go to Juju first and probably Deontay Johnson second in terms of the wide receiver rotation, and then you look for James Washington. That could change, but again, I'm just basing it off of how these guys play. Juju runs more than one route. He runs multiple routes. Deontay Johnson is clearly going to be that. But when we see James Washington, what are we looking at most of the time? Down the outside of the numbers. You know, sometimes down the seam, sometimes deep posts, i.e. the touchdown that Duck threw to him against Cincinnati. So I think James Washington is more of that let's take a shot type of guy. At least the way we've been playing him. So that's automatically going to limit his production. However, one could say, well, look at what he was able to do with Duck and a couple of times with Mason, and Roethlisberger's going to take a shot. Yeah. So he could. But Ebron, let's not forget how much the tight end, Ben loves going to the tight end. And Ebron is going to be working the middle, man. He's going to be working them seams. So I think Ebron has a potential to have a better season in terms of number of catches. Okay, maybe even touchdowns. I don't know. But production-wise, Ebron, I think, will have a better opportunity given this current circumstance of our offense working with a Ben Roethlisberger. You better believe that Ebron going to get some touches, man. So I'm going to say Ebron. I hope they both do well, though. But all right, guys, that is my hour. I've gone over a few minutes. Might as well go ahead and get up out of here, man. I definitely appreciate you guys coming out tonight. The views have been great, man. You guys have been really supporting. I don't know if it's because of, you guys enjoy what's happening and maybe the word is getting out, or if the quarantine is helping that. And if it is, great. We all in the house anyway. You could be doing anything else right now, but you're spending your time with me, so I completely and greatly appreciate that. But before we go, man, in case you want to do so, you missed the opportunity here on YouTube, but if you ever want to donate while we're doing the show, there's a $sign down at the bottom of the chat. You click on that, have at it. If you prefer to donate on the outside of YouTube, and a lot of you guys have done that, man, so I want to definitely thank you guys for that. I have Cash App, I have PayPal. That information is in the description. If you care to do so, we thank you in advance. But outside of that, one thing I definitely need you guys to do for me, man. This is the easy one. This don't cost nothing. Right here. Look at that. Subscribe, thumbs up, turn on your notifications. That's all I ask. Please do that at the very least. And last but not least, guys, while we're dealing with this quarantine, be safe and be responsible, please, man. Please. Please. Don't be like, and we talked about the DMV earlier. DMV, guys, is DC, Maryland, Virginia. For you guys who live in that area, did y'all see all them people in DC at the wharf? Now, Leonard would know what I'm talking about. Tony knows what I'm talking about, man. Nice seafood spot in DC. It was jam-packed. And the irony of it in the picture that was posted online was there's a sign saying social distancing 6 feet apart. I mean, and people were piled on top of each other with kids and everything. That's just not responsible. Over some crabs? Fam. Over some crabs. Come on, man. Be responsible, man. All we got to do is sit back for a minute. I know it sucks. I know y'all don't like being in the crib. I don't like it either. And even what's even worse, guys, you know, I work from home anyway 4 days a week. You know, of course, since everything has happened, I haven't even been going in on that one day because our whole organization is at home. But what's even worse than that is schools are out. So I'm here with my 6-year-old every day. And, you know, you guys know we got the new puppy and I'm trying to, it's been hectic. But guess what? It's better than going out and potentially putting myself in harm's way or potentially, you know, getting infected, don't show anything or any symptoms, and then I potentially give it to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? My wife or my son, or God forbid I walk across, you know, through the back over to Leonard's house and pass it on to him or my mother-in-law. You know what I'm saying? It's just not responsible. So please, guys, if you don't have to, don't go out. You know, get your groceries, get back in the crib, wash your hands, wipe things down, Lysol. You know what I'm saying? Just be safe, man, because it would really suck, and I doubt if I would even hear it. But it would really suck if something happened to any of you guys, man. It would really would crush me, man, to hear about anybody that I, you know, communicate to formally or informally. Just be safe, please. Just be safe, be safe. But yeah, man, next week, Kenyon and myself, we're both Aries. My birthday is the 15th. His is on the 13th, if I remember correctly. So, you know, next Tuesday, we'll do a steel table. And, you know, we'll just have a good time, man, to kind of celebrate birthdays. And we'll talk some more Steelers. We'll have some more prospects to talk to you guys about. So until then, man, hope you guys stay safe, please. Please be safe. Thank you for coming out. And that's going to be it for tonight's show. Appreciate you tuning in to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. And I'm out. Peace.